What's up, everyone? How you guys and gals doing? A special biker angle today. We got the BD in the house, but our special guest today, he's back from the dead, the ultimate, the warrior, the old man, the OG of this whole damn thing, man. He's been around even before Dibber. We got Big Kaz back in the house. I'm so happy to have you back in the house, man.
Man, as I said a couple weeks ago, if it wasn't for y'all, I wouldn't even be doing this. If it wasn't for Black Dragon, I would know what StreamYard is. If it wasn't for Black Dragon, I would know how to do thumbnails. If it wasn't for you talking me, so it was time, but it was, that other guy who talked me into it. But it was about 3 weeks of tutoring from Black Dragon and Stacks that so I owe all homage to Big Bro and you guys keeping it alive.
Man, I'm telling you what, man, a lot's changed since you've been here. A lot's changed. Like you said, you got to up your thumbnails now. You got to up your stream, your videos, everything, man. These younger kids out there, holy cow, man. It's like they're in production for Hollywood, making movies.
Yeah. It's been I forget that I've been doing, I started in like 2012, I think around 2011 or 12. Because I met Black Dragon online, I want to say, 2000, Black Dragon, 2015 or 16?
Probably, it was 2016. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Is he there?
Yeah, we can hear
you. Guys hear me?
I can't hear him.
Man, we've been at it this long, BD, ever since then. Holy cow, dude.
I can't hear Black Dragon.
You were at it before I was, Hollywood. Testing.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
You can't hear BD? I can hear him. Everybody else can.
No, I can't hear him. Say something.
Something.
Oh, there we go. What year did we meet, Dragon?
About 2016, I think.
Was it 16?
I think it was 2016. That's when I started back to TV.
Was I still in California?
You were.
Might have been 15 or 16. So, yeah, I didn't realize that I started doing it first, but I didn't really know what I was doing till someone said, hey, a guy by the name of Black Dragon wants to talk to you. Because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just turning on my camera saying, F this and F that, and you this and you that, and don't do this. And then that's when I learned what I was doing. I was doing podcasting, per se, after I talked to Black Dragon.
Actually, it wasn't called podcasting.
Yeah, what was it called? What were we doing?
Back then, we were vlogging.
We
were vlogging. We were vlogging. And it didn't become bastardized for podcasting until like 2021 or so. See, back then there was two separate, there was blogs, which was something that you wrote. There was video logs, which were vlogs, which is what we were doing. And then there was podcasting, which is what Hollywood did, which was all audio, like radio.
Yeah.
And podcasting initially was just audio, and now it's all become podcasting. I don't know how that should happen, but yeah.
But if it wasn't for you, I had no clue what I was doing. I had no clue. And even when my channel got taken away, and that other dude came out here to visit me before I moved to Thailand. And I think I spoke to you while I was in Thailand, and I kind of started messing around with a little bit, but it wasn't until I moved back and you were like, nah, man, have you heard of StreamYard? Have you heard of Riverside FM? Have you heard of video, to do your clips? And again, the game has changed tremendously. I pride myself on not doing shock value. That's more what you guys do, the news, I just kind of say, hey, man, look, I'm still active in this life. Don't fuck your life over for a piece of material.
There you go. Well, you know what? We're gonna talk about you a little bit, introduce you or reintroduce you to everyone. Your story is just amazing. How you went from the streets to a world-renowned rapper, rap with Ice-T and all that stuff, and finally to the lifestyle you're in now. And I know you're still in with Mo Thug Records and all that good stuff, but your life is one that it's an inspiration. You got to send me one of your hats. I'll wear it there for you. Inspiration for the youngins and all that good stuff. So let's take you back to
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt for just 1 second, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to take a few minutes to recognize the life of Swisher Hill, one of the very first Sisters of the Cross of the mighty Black Sabbath Motorcycle Club Nation, who lost her life today, way too short and way too fast. As a female and a female rider and a leader in the Black Sabbath Nation, and as a personal advisor to me as a national president, she was one of the most inspirational women I have ever known, and I will miss her with all of my heart and my soul and my body. May you travel well, sister, as you go to the eternal resting place, which is our true home. Thank you so much, Hollywood.
Condolences.
Good.
If you don't mind me asking, BD, how she passed?
I think it was either a stroke or a aneurysm or maybe a blood clot that traveled through her leg or something. So one of those kinds of things. She was, unfortunately, she was her brain was unalive several days. And they took her off of support, I think 6 p.m. tonight.
Well, we're going to be dedicating our show to her again. BD, you want to give the information out again? That's messed up.
Her name was Swisher, and her real name is Deidre Hill, but the Black Sabbath Motorcycle Club, as you know, we grew from nothing to we grew from a mom and pop club, just a couple of chapters, to a nationwide behemoth. And when we decided to take the women to a higher level, they were auxiliary in the club. They were the women's auxiliary and we wanted to give them a name. And so we started with the Goddesses of the Cross, and then they started riding motorcycles. They were all married, and I'm telling you, these women got badass bikes. I mean, not the bullshit. They were driving they were riding full dressers and all the baddest road glides and CVOs and shit that they made, that either they bought or their husbands bought. And so these women started riding. We started the Sisters of the Cross Motorcycle Club underneath the Black Sabbath Nation. And these Sisters of the Cross, they were putting down the big miles, 1K in a day, 1,500 miles without one way. We had the Snow Bear Disciples, the Poseidon Disciples, 500 miles in driving range, stuff like that. These women took all of the top riding prizes. They set up the stage for Sisters of the Cross all across the Black Sabbath Nation to start riding their motorcycles and ride underneath our flag. And she was one of the leaders, along with Isis, who was the president of Macon, and they just set it down for the women all across. But as a personal sister of mine, as a sister in an extended family, she would guide me because she was wise, and she would talk to me as a national president. She was one of the few people that could call me up and talk me down off of, I'm throwing this person out, or she talked me down off of my most dumbest shit that would have really made me a very negative national president. She could talk me down and talk guidance and sense in me. And I'm just going to miss that woman. I'm just going to miss her. She was an angel on this earth, and I just miss her. And my heart is just broken.
Yeah. Sorry to hear about that, man. Man, that's terrible. Going to you again, Big Kaz. your early childhood and your progression from gangster to rapper to where you're at today.
You know, uh, shout out to everybody that's bought my new book. I made it off the block. Uh, Another shout out to Black Dragon, who taught me how to. Ice-T got me the deal, but it was Black Dragon that taught me how to record the book. I ended up hiring a writer, not a ghost writer, but just a writer, because I don't know where to put commas, periods. But it was Black Dragon again that like, hey, are you recording it like this? And after you're done doing this, send it to this, and it'll break it down. But I spent 10 grand, ended up hiring a writer, and after I spent that 10, and the dude started getting on my nerves, I called Black Dragon again, and he said, use this app, and it will break. So, shout out to everybody that bought the book. I talk about my childhood just as much as I have in the Prison to Fame documentary. I grew up to a woman of the night, a crazy Caucasian, a Latin father who I never met, who was her pimp. Like I said, she was a woman of the night, and she was a very disturbed. I don't consider her my mother. I consider her my birth giver. But she was a disturbed woman, and things that a young 10-year-old boy should not experience. Your first sexual encounter, it's not supposed to be with anybody you're related to, but you can find out more if you pick up the book. It's available on Amazon, or if you want an autographed copy from me, you can go to BRAAP, BRAAP energyshot.com, and I'll send you an autographed copy. But, I grew up this interracial kid. Black Dragon knew where I grew up. I grew up in the roller 60s. 3rd Avenue and 52nd, one of the most notorious neighborhoods, which can be very, camouflage, because you see all these palm trees and you think you're in this great neighborhood, but you lose your life, been in the wrong corners or saying the wrong things. And I didn't find out 2 years later that BD, you grew up how far away from me, Dragon?
Well, I grew up in San Fernando Valley.
But at one time you lived off Crenshaw and Jefferson.
Well, that's where my kinfolk live. So I would spend the summers down in that area, and I would always go there, for the weekends, for church and stuff like that.
And what did you know about the roller 60s, about the neighborhood?
Not a damn thing. I didn't know. I didn't understand everything that I saw around me. I was just a dumbass kid.
Yeah, but
let's roll you back, Big Kaz. At the age of 10, you're going through all these trial and tribulations, and so you'll be able to relate to the kids that are going through it now. What would you say to those kids? And basically, you were just babies at 10 years old. Getting your, I don't know, getting fast forward, your innocence taken away. What would you say to those kids now to help them out?
The hardest thing is, I'm sure you guys remember when Michael Jackson would say he didn't have a childhood. So he stayed kind of childlike. I'm not in any way putting myself on the level with him, but, at 10, I was already grown. At 10. I amused myself by doing mature things. I will tell kids today, get from in front of your video games, jump on your bicycle, and go ride. The world is such a big, beautiful place. And if you're not getting the childhood that you kind of see on TV, it'll cost you nothing to just try to hold on to your innocence. I started gangbanging at 12. I started having sex at 10. Never been into drugs, but I started cooking drugs at 10. I'm cooking heroin at 10 years old. I would just say, don't get caught up in the stuff you're seeing. Even what we're doing right now, just go be a kid, man, because it goes by so fast.
Is there any place you would tell them to go for help if you could?
You know, some people will say go to your church. Some people will say, you know, I unfortunately, well, I'm actually about to get emotional. I ain't never in my fucking life got emotional on talking about this.
Sorry, man. I didn't mean to get too deep with you, bro. I just want to be able, if kids shouldn't be watching this show, but if they hear it on Spotify or radio.net, stuff like that, they'd be able to, you know what, there was someone here that went through it, what you're going through. There's always a chance.
You'd be amazed how many cats, Hollywood, you'd be amazed how many cats are our age that went through this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Find somebody you could talk to. I had a neighbor. I talk about him in my book. I had a neighbor. He was the only, next to my white mother. There was 3 people on my street that was white. There was my birth giver, this lady named Marie, sorry, and this guy on the corner. And I talk about him in the book. His name is Joe, and he was a Vietnam vet. And I would walk past his house to go to the store, and one of his dogs got out, and I grabbed the dog, and he's like, "Well, come on in." Nowadays you don't go into people's houses, but I went in and I just was like, "Oh wow, he's white." I never seen him. I only just knew this beautiful house on the corner in the neighborhood on 3rd Ave and 52nd, and that was my escape. That was my once I went in those gates.
Yeah.
That was I learned how to work with tools. My love for animals was because of him. And I remember some guys ran up to his gate with some bloods. This raglan gangbang. This is like 77 for me. 76, 77, and some bloods ran from V&G. Ran up through his gate. He had this brick and iron gate, and they ran through, and he came out to help them, and they turned on him. And I remember one guy hit Joe over the head with a brick. This is a Vietnam vet, but the whole neighborhood was like a movie. Alvin, the Pearsons, the Colemans, Derek Colemans. Everybody came out and started whooping these mother. And it was like this cheer. And then a week later, Joe was gone.
So he was kind of a father figure, if you will, or a mentor and a Vietnam vet at that, man. Them Vietnam vets, man. Well, we learned under them.
Hollywood, this is just like talking to you. You went through the same shit. You're almost interviewing yourself right here.
Well, that's one thing where I relate with Big Kaz. I came from a messed up family, man. And it drove me into a direction because I think, like you were looking for a family unit. Is how you ended up in a gang. Well, I was looking for a family.
Did you have a mother and father at home?
My mother was always working, and my father was drunker than a skunk. So I ended up around my great uncle, which was, let's just say, a street crew in Chicago. I can't, really go into it. And from a young age, he had me running numbers and progressed from there.
Oh yeah. And I I'm not, my book is sold more than enough, but I tell people, there's an Audible for the book. Black Dragon taught me how to do the Audible. The book hit #5 on Amazon. Ice-T executive produced the book, but he was my escape. At 12 years old, when he had just started getting into the music business, and I would follow him anywhere when I can get out the neighborhood. So he kind of became the big brother. But like you, I was always looking. And I wasn't so much impressionable, but I was always looking. And like I said, when Joe was gone, then I worked the most known barbershop in Los Angeles to this day. And Black Dragon knows about this barbershop. It's called Magnificent Brothers. Been there for years. It was in the movie Car Wash. It's a legendary all black barbershop. And you'd have pimps there. I remember I met Mr. T there when he was doing Rocky, but I started selling dope. I was the hair boy. I was the errand runner and the sweep hair and selling dope out the back at 12. So I was grown. I was grown. I was having sex because I was already having sex with a grown woman at 10. So what I want to go hit on a 12-year-old for? So I would hit on grown 18, 19, 25, something. I got blue eyes, long hair, little muscular kid, and I was hitting on grown women. I'm having sex with, grown women. So I couldn't tell you what a childhood was like.
What did that do with your psyche, if you will, the way you approached the world, the way your beliefs were shaped? Were you the same type of guy where you were cautious around everybody you knew?
Absolutely. I'm still that way to this day. I jumped on I had like an hour before me and you got together. And one of my brothers who I never get to ride with, I got 2 road glides. I was like, oh man, let's go jump on the bikes. And I remember he kept asking me, what am I looking at? What am I looking at? And I was so busy staring at some dude in the parking lot that I wasn't even enjoying my food. And not joking, within minutes, I turned and saw there was a person that has less than us. And I said, hey, boss, have you had anything to eat? And his face lit up Hollywood like, what? I said, man, would you want something to eat? Whatever you want. So I get him his food. He's telling me a story. He's on his way to Prescott, blah, blah. So I send him on his way. I sit back down and Shadow goes, how did you just go from where you're ready to do something to this guy in the parking lot to immediately, I said, that's my yin and my yang. So yes, I have doubts towards people, but then I'll try to find good in people.
And I think that's a powerful statement right there, is finding good in people nowadays. God knows we need it in this country now. But one of the interesting things that's become with me lately is, and I'm sure you'd say the same thing if you had kids and stuff, is keep them out of the gangs. They're no good. They're not family. That guy rolling down there with that Caprice all pumped up, man, hide, or, low riding it out, bumping and all that ain't a father figure right there.
My years of gangbanging, biggest Crips set in the world is Rolling 60s. Where I'm from. I wasn't that kind of gangbanger. I didn't really care about the red or the blue. It was all about being a disgusting drug dealer. And I was never flamboyant. I was actually a nerd. Like, I had my first apartment at 16. Black Dragon, remember the movie Car Wash?
Yeah.
I lived right across the street from where that real, on 6th and Rampart, where that real car wash was. And I used to sell dope out of there. And, again, I was mature way beyond my years. And as a 57-year-old man that's got 4 grown daughters, I ain't done this in years, Hollywood. So if we're going to get into it, we're going to get into it. I'm not telling people just go buy the book because, I don't have a relationship with any of my daughters. None. Absolutely not one. And we were all like this. And I couldn't tell you what snapped in me in 2017. And I just shut everybody off. And somehow I ain't been able to snap back out of it. And I have not spoken to any of my daughters since. My youngest one I spoke to about 2 weeks ago, and I told her, you know what, I don't even like you. I don't want a relationship with you. And I'm not your dad.
That's tough stuff right there.
I wasn't trying to be nasty or mean. I just don't have a relationship with her. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I've watched you, Big Kaz, do that over and over again in the time that I have known you. And I have not understood why you cut everybody the fuck off and just start.
I don't know, big brother. I don't know.
So you were, you know, you're going through tough times now, but going through the gang stuff, you ended up in prison, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. My longest prison sentence was 1 to 15 years. I did 410. And I want to thank you for being the only one that did your homework. Because remember when the trolls were like, oh, and you were the only one that did your homework. It's like, nah, he went to prison.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into them damn trolls, believe me.
Yeah.
Is that where your love, was it in the gang scene on the street, or was it in prison where you got your love for rapping? Where did that start coming from, your artistic ability and moving through that period in your life?
It was Ice-T, and it definitely wasn't in prison. It was when I got out of prison the last time, because every time I'd get out, people would say, man, Ice is over here. You know, go holler at him. Or they'd tell me he was looking for me, and I'd find him. I'd be a little bit more muscular. And he tried to get me to go on tour with him because Ice always kept his homeboys with him. Nope. I would always go right back to the street, Hollywood. And in 1998, I got out. I went in 92, got out in 98. And my boy Poppy, if anybody ever watches Kev Mack videos, Kev Mack interviews Big Cat. Big Cat's little brother was Poppy, so I kind of grew up with them also. It ain't kind of, I grew up. And he was hanging around Ice-T and them real tough at the time. So he took me over there. Ice was like, man, where you been? And I'm like, I was in prison. And he asked me, well, what am I going to do? I was like, nothing. I said, man, and this is a true story. He was like, man, why don't you go on the road with me? You see how these niggas got BMWs and Mercedes? And I said, yeah, but they all live at home with their mamas are still in the hood. And you know what he said finally to me? This is years and years of me running into Ice-T since a kid. And I just disrespected everybody and said, you know, yeah, but they still live in the hood with their mamas. And he goes, yeah, but they're free and you're not. You always go back to jail.
That's deep.
And he told me, so I don't remember what happened, but I think like I talked to Evil E, his DJ, and Evil E's brother here, and they were like, well, write a rap. You man, you got this voice, you look like him kind of. And to this day, in 2025, I've never written a rap ever. I've never put a beat on. If it sounds like a beat that I'm gonna rob a bank, that's how I come up with the words. And my first rap, I sat down, and it was the only one that I did write, and I didn't know where bars were, 8 bars, 12 bars. And I'm rapping, I'm like, you like the dope rhythm I gave you, crave for the lyrical bass, but be on your best behavior. Because once a step, that's it, there's nothing. I still remember the rap. Mm-hmm. And I must have gotten to like 30 bars, and he was like, where's the hook? Well, Black Dragon knows there's a saying that you never said to somebody back. Remember we used to say, oh, nigga, you a hook. You remember that? You a hook. So yeah. I thought he was calling me a hook. I'm like, cuz, who you talking to? He was like, God damn, does this dude ever stop gangbanging? No, where's the hook to the song, the chorus? I was like, I don't know, you put it there. And then that's how I learned how to format a song. But so the love for music wasn't until 99. Then he got me a deal with Steve Lobel, the manager of Bone Thugs and Harmony. My first album came out. I'm on tour with Bone Thugs and Harmony, and I go back to jail a week after my album came out.
You know, you talk about Ice-T. Now, Ice-T is pretty famous not only in the rap world, but the acting world.
Longest running actor in history.
Victims Crime Unit.
He's on SVU.
Yeah, is he like that in real life?
He's like that 24/7.
Where he actually cares about what's going on with his community. I remember New Jack City. That was one of the best, when I was a kid anyway.
I've known Ice since I was 10, and he has always looked out for the people he loves. And I will tell you, I got into some really bad IRS trouble. When I moved to Thailand, I can admit it now because I've already been convicted. But this is you getting this first. I haven't even said it on my podcast. When I moved to Thailand, I wasn't just moving. Well, actually, Black Dragon knows this, so you're the second person. I knew there was a warrant for my arrest for tax evasion that Thursday. And they froze my bank account. I had the cash that I had, and I flew out to Thailand. And, I went flat broke. And it was Ice-T that, helped me get back on track. And, he's just always been, and I can tell you, I've tried to pay him back 6 or 7 times, and he'll always go, well, just hit me when you really, really got it. Like, give it back to me when you I'm like, I got it. Because we live about 5 minutes from each other. He lives here. So when he's filming, he lives in Jersey. When he's not filming, he lives here. And we just talked yesterday. But yeah, he's really like that, man.
Black Dragon, you to jump in any time, my man.
I'm just listening and learning, and you're doing very good. You got an excellent flow going. So I'll get in where I fit in, bro.
Well, he's heard, Black Dragon's heard a lot of, we talk, people don't realize we talk more than people realize we talk. So he's heard a lot of these stories.
If you're just joining us over on Instagram, on the radio station, or on YouTube, this is Big Kaz. He's back over on YouTube doing social media and doing the influence and stuff. So we're getting to learn about him right now. That way you guys can go over to his channel, Head Knockers TV.
It's Big Kaz OG, BIGCAZ OG.
So you got into the rapping. How did your trajectory change you as a person when you started in that field? Being a musician, learning from Ice-T, learning from everybody around him. How were you able to take the fame, the disappointments? How did that shape you?
I lucked up. I've never really had to struggle. I've always been very smart. Now there's this running joke that I always say, you can't make this up. You'd have to live 10 lives to live. I'm like that movie that Leonardo DiCaprio played. Remember, he played the airline pilot, the doctor, That's been my life. Difference is I wasn't lying about it. But I lucked up. Biggest group in the world to this day is still Bone Thugs and Harmony. So I instantly got in with them. So I couldn't tell you what it was like struggling in the music business because I ended up in the biggest group in the world. 2007, I ended up taking over the independent label, Mo Thugs. And it was like, wait a minute. If I can sell this garbage, this poison on the streets, drugs, and have a complete detachment from people that are really struggling, I could sell this music. And I've owned Mo Thugs ever since 2007. Whether or not the relationship with Bone Thugs and Harmony, we don't all sit on the phone anymore. But it groomed me to realize there's a business behind this. And trust me, the IRS don't come knocking if you're not making no money. So obviously I was making money. I just wasn't a smart businessman in the issue of paying taxes. Now I pay my taxes.
Well, another thing that you brought up earlier was you lived in Thailand.
Thailand, yeah.
How is the culture different over there compared to the United States?
Oh,
And I was I actually listened to one of your videos, and if we'll fast forward in the club stuff in a minute, but this has to pertain to it, where you would never see that kind of camaraderie that you see over there, over here, where all the majors actually get along. And one of the reasons was nobody wants to get locked up in a Thai prison.
no, no. You it's not like the county jail in LA or in south side of Chicago. How I ended up choosing Thailand was my very dear little brother Vin, Zybeth Muay Thai gym that I train out of, and my office was there. And me, one of his trainers, who I call Oos, and his son I was like, yo, let's go to Thailand. We're training traditional Muay Thai, but I want to go train in Thailand. So 2021, I think, or 22, we just went to Thailand. And my little nephew, who's, champion in Muay Thai, he was more interested in buying bootleg stuff. And I was interested in wanting to see Thailand. So I ended up leaving them. I left Bangkok and went over to Pattaya and ran into, you seen the show Zoom to Thailand?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that show?
No.
There's a show called Zoom to Thailand. And ex-famous actor from California named Richie Mack. He was on I'ma Get You Sucker, Hollywood Shuffle, and he moved to Thailand. So he interviewed me out there, and I fell in love with it. And I came back on a 90-day fight visa, because you can go there on a fight visa. So I went back by myself, and I knew at that point, A, I was about to run from the IRS, and two,
see ya.
I was like, I'm going to Thailand. I had 9 motorcycles. I sold all 9 of them. I had a Corvette, I had a Benz, I had a truck. 2 of the bikes in the truck. Anyway, they, sold my house, got on a plane, and was gone. And after a while, I was like, okay, I really don't want it. I had to leave my dog behind. I had to sell bikes that I never said I would sell. Luckily, I got my dog back, and I got one of my motorcycles back. Bike I bought in Germany from my brother Ian. But Thailand was different, Hollywood. It was shout out to Butcher and Tim. Let's not get something twisted. They got outlaw clubs in Thailand. And one of the biggest hitters is Stronger MC.
Yes.
Right, but
yes.
Black Dragon.
Absolutely. And shout out to those guys. Shout out to Butcher. I remember hooking back up with you when you were going through that transition in your life, and when you were trying to figure out if you were going to come back here and stay.
Yeah.
There, and I guess you went back to Arizona and got a house there.
Yes. So
I remember.
But I'm heading back to Thailand now that I can just legally go. I ain't got to run. I leave November 10th, and I haven't figured out when I'm going to come back. But my dog will still be here. But Stronger MC, Hollywood, I got to Thailand, and 2 days later, Butcher was in another club at the time. He was in a 99. I'm like, yo, this guy's a 1%er. He just don't know it. And his name is Butcher because that's really what he is. He's a butcher. He meat and big, tall, white boy. And then he introduced me to Tim, the president. And I was like, these dudes are 24/7 1%ers. And man, I didn't want for anything while I was over there. Nothing.
How does the Thai authorities look on 1%ers over there?
Could care less. They don't bother us. They do not bother us. I went to an event in Bangkok, and I'm taking some pictures with some Mongols that recognize me. And I happened to glance over, and there was some banditos right next to their booth. And right next to their booth was some Hells Angels. And I was like, I looked at Tim. I'm like, we good? And I had my colors on, and he was like, bro, they don't do that out here. Pissed off the Thai authorities out here. You ain't never. One thing about Thailand, you're not just going to get arrested. You're going to get arrested. You're going to get shook down for every dime. And then after you're shook down for every dime, you're going to get your time. And then after you're done getting your time, they're going to tell you to get up out of their country. So they treat you like I'm trying to blackmail Black Dragon. I've been trying to see if I can set up some porn pictures of him so I can blackmail to get him to go to Thailand with me. He just won't do it.
Yeah, I still want to have my woman when I get back.
I've been trying to Photoshop some pictures to mess up a happy home so he can go with me. He will not do it.
How does that affect your thinking after seeing that? How everybody got along over there?
It makes you realize how stupid you are. It makes you realize it's for the better. I remember Tim, the president, like, yeah, man, come by my house. I got a bike for you. And it was the most amazing thing that Hollywood, I'm riding in the junk. So my condo was on the beach. My house, so I had a condo on the beach and a house for $900. So I have a condo on the beach, fully furnished, like the Taj Mahal. Anybody that wants to know, Google Copacabana, Pattaya. And it's the most amazing condos you ever see. And then my house was in Bangladesh, like 20 minutes from Jomtien. 2-bedroom, gated with a pool, fully furnished. So I had a house and a condo, but to go riding, because I was too scared to ride in the city, it was so, what's the word I'm looking for? Exhilarating and free. And the only thing I kept thinking is a fucking tiger gonna come on, grab me by the throat and drag me into the bushes? See, that's the ghetto in me that I'm like, yo, a tiger's gonna come kill me. Because you will see, you'll see animals out there. But it was so free, man. And I can't wait to get back. It's going to be they're throwing me a party when I go back. And hopefully my brother Butcher, who's a prospect now for Stronger, hopefully he's getting patched. So I don't want to miss that. But yeah, for your psyche, it's just seeing all these guys get along. I got one for you, Hollywood. Do you know they wear the 1%er diamond, not because they're some of them. I remember Butcher sent me a collage of about 40, and I gave it to Black Dragon, about 40 Popeyes 1%er, McDonald's 1%er. And I was like, wait, is this a joke? They're paying homage to the 1%er diamond. So they just put it on there. So I was like, and y'all don't care? No, he's like, for what? We don't take it that serious. We take our 1%er diamond serious. But don't think that you're going to go there. While I was there, they found a couple Hells Angels in a ravine out there because they had turned everybody's water off. And we found out the next day why they turned the water off. They found these bodies which was your water system. And, it turned out it was some cats from Belgium or something that were over there, and they got that night, and they dumped them in the water, not ravine. What is it? Where your water comes from?
What is it? A repository or reservoir?
Reservoir, I guess. Reservoir, yeah.
Reservoir.
Yeah. I remember everybody's water was off, and I was like, then we looked on the news, and it was, but I would suggest. I really never experienced anything bad, and I'll tell you something. If you go look on my page and look for Stronger MC or Butcher, you'll see a picture of an Outcast and a Thunder Guard standing side by side in Thailand before the peace treaty that Black Dragon and them put together. And that was because I hooked them up. I'm like, "What, you gonna fight in Thailand?" And I had heard that. I wasn't there at the time, but that brought them together. and they took some pictures together, and the club supported it.
So you went from gangster to rapper and in the one percenter clubs. What got you into motorcycling?
You said it right, motorcycles.
Yeah, I always say motorcycling anyway.
Um,
But what got you into that, and what led you into wanting to get into a club?
So my birth giver, she dated some cats from Chosen Few. So I grew up in the motorcycle world, but I've always had motorcycles. I just didn't want to be in a club because I was already gangbanging. What, I'm gonna go join a motorcycle club? That didn't make sense to me. You can't do both. And I wasn't ready to leave, what I was doing. So I grew up around Chosen Few. I grew up around what they call the black set. But then when I ended up living with the family who raised me in Ventura County, my dad, who, is very, very, very close with George Christie. So that was like an uncle to me. And that's Uncle George. You just kind of put two and two of who we hung out with, Ventura County. And I started getting more and more intrigued. But I just thought, you know what? I'm going to start my own club. So if you pull up my first club, Kings Among Kings, the bottom rocker said neighborhood. The front tab was an NH. People thought it was an NY, but it was an NH for neighborhood. Then the bottom rocker said neighborhood. So really it was a gangbang club. And I opened up a chapter in California, had a chapter in Vegas, had a chapter in Arizona. The club is still around to this day. They're a joke, but they're still around. I applaud them for, continuing the legacy of it, but they've changed it and pretty much erased the history of how I started it. But, right. And then I went on to Chosen Few. As many have called me a club hopper. And,
well, you know what? The club hopping stuff, a lot of people don't understand about that is,
come on,
you're trying to find something that's for you, your ideology.
There's a journey and there's a destination.
Exactly.
And, if a guy goes to 6 different football teams, you know what you call him? Lucky. Mm-hmm. Or he's still a first-round draft pick. I've had the pleasure of starting my own club, then going to Chosen Few, then going to the Vagos and prospecting for the Vagos, then becoming the president of Green Machine. And then Thunderguards. I don't think I'm leaving anybody out.
So it was a journey for you. And yes. I'm sure each one of those taught you something, but also those, and it's kind of like, when you hear Mooch's story, my man Mooch, he went from this one to that one. Yeah. And that's why I always try to explain, hey man, you're there looking for something. You're looking for a family, and not everybody's a family.
Yes. And, I always say that, well, if I'm a club hopper, then what does that say about the clubs that hop to have me, that want me, that realize, I'm a benefit? And, I don't act like I'm this big bad 1%er, but all I try to do is teach guys listen, let me tell you what I'm not. I'm not a guy that was in a club for a year and a half that all of a sudden is the know-it-all of 1% life. Black Dragon, knock it off.
What's up,
I'm not a guy that will act like he is the pillar of the 1% world. I've been doing this a long time, and my name is good out here in these streets. And
that's one thing that these internet trolls, if you will, cheerleaders that think they know everything and anything about what's actually going on, but never took the step to actually try to put a patch on. So, there's the hypocrisy in that one. But I think it does go to your point where a lot of people, you're lucky to last 5 years in a club now because of how the clubs are run.
Or someone that's only done it for a year or so, and now he's the blueprint of 1% life. And I don't dry snitch. I don't do news at 2, live at 5. This just in. But what I don't respect is people that act like they've done it all and they know it all, but they ain't been around not much of a hot second. I earned my keys to become a real nomad. That's going to go over a lot of fucking people's heads. Keys. What does he mean, keys? That
Right.
part. I earned mine to where if someone bangs my line, I know it's because they respect me. What you're never going to hear is, I ain't never banged nobody's old lady. I ain't never stole from the club. I ain't never lied on the club. I've never gotten a club in trouble. I've never gotten a club brother in trouble. And I ain't never spoke to the cops. But what saddens me today, Black Dragon, when you had issues with Chosen Few, who made the call for you?
You picked up the phone.
That does not mean that, no, because I only called one person. But I'll tell you what Black Dragon didn't do. He didn't go hide nowhere. He was like, as a matter of fact, when we talked, he was on video out in the parking lot at a bike night. He just wanted to fix something. But it just took a phone call. Because my name is good when I ring somebody's line. If I pull your ear, give me that time. But it's become this pissing contest of who's done this, who knows who got the call first. I don't give up. Brother, I didn't leave gangbang in Hollywood to do all this all over again over a piece of material.
It's
I'm going
like
to repeat that.
Girls
I didn't leave gangbanging to do this all over again over a piece of material. And you're ready to kill this and kill that. Pay attention. But you won't kill that 5'5" cop that just told you to shut the fuck up and get off your bike and lay on your ground. Now, I'm not advocating killing cops, but if you're super kill, you're super kill. I'll kill anybody. I'll kill this, the featherheads, the cheesehead, this, that. You're going to kill. What you mad at them for? That cop just told you to shut the fuck up, get off your butt. Wait, you're a killer. Go kill. Other than that, stop, because there's no motorcycles in prison. You can't take it with you when you die. It'll look dope on the back of a hearse. And no matter what that chick looked like, her name is still Johnny in prison.
You got that right.
So all this tough guy stuff, if you're not, the only person that your enemy is the cop. The cop don't want to believe nothing you're saying. The cop believe you said something about 2 months ago and you said, listen, I'm going to start calling it like I see it. And I wanted to find fault so bad at what you say. You're like, yo, I'm going to start calling it like I see it. You acting this way. Because, yeah, there may be some guys that are plumbers. There may be some guys that are construction workers. But if you're going to act like a gang, that's how you're going to get treated. And at first I was like, oh, don't say that. Then I thought about it. I was like, yo, do you realize it's not a cop's job to wonder if you're a plumber? It's his job to automatically assume that you got an ounce of meth in the back of your bike. That you have I got pulled over last month. And you know what was the best thing in the world? When I was able to tell the cop, yeah, I got my weapon on me, because I got my gun rights back this year, I'm sorry. And when I said to him, I was in my Benz. He said, you got any weapons? I said, yep. He goes, where's it at? I said, on my waist. He goes, okay, leave it there. And you know what was the best thing? That he went back to go write my ticket. And the fact that he didn't say, do me a favor, stop out the car, because if I wasn't legally, didn't get my gun rights back, we would have found out right then and there. So don't fuck your life over. Having a passport, being able to travel.
It's everything.
One thing I do try to, tell people, Big Kaz, especially with the new administration, the DOJ, they're not messing with you anymore.
No.
The FBI, especially when they're designated, hell, they got the whole Atlantic fleet right by Venezuela right now. They're not going to play with you if, you have members that are screwing around with them type of guys. And I would have to say that they're truly not your brothers if they're bringing that kind of heat to you. The Ricos are going down all over the place. So I say to myself, why the hell are the leaders allowing this kind of stuff? I don't care if they wear the same patch or not. They're bringing the cops to your door. If you want to be in business, at least be smart about it and stay away from the club with it.
I'm going to give the best. I'm going to play a scenario with Black Dragon. We've joked about this before, but I'm going to play a scenario and then I'm going to tell you how easy it is. Hey, Black Dragon, what room did homeboy have that weed in?
I don't know.
But guess what? He's going to jail.
Damn right he is.
Why is Black Dragon going to jail?
Because he's an associate.
Just because he said, I don't know. Because it's his job now to get off this podcast and call alarm. You're an upstanding citizen. Did you tell us? I don't snitch on nobody. That's called conspiracy.
He's an associate.
He conspired, whether he said, I don't know, he conspired to let an illegal activity happen. So let me explain something, gentlemen. Telegram is not encrypted. What's the other one, Black Dragon?
Signal.
Signal is not encrypted. They know what your mama did an hour ago.
Damn right they do.
So when dudes say, well, do me a favor, hit me on Signal, that's more because the messages disappear. Where do you think they disappear to, dum-dum?
Not the NSA. The NSA will catch you in a heartbeat.
When I caught my federal case, Hollywood, and we're talking 2010, I thought I cleaned out my computer and cleaned out my phones. My lawyer called me and he said, check your email. It was 37 pages of messages. I was like, I use those apps. I use to erase it. Nah, stupid. It's not how that works. It's not.
No,
and back then we had the 2010, we had what was the walkie-talkie thing?
Yeah, Nextel.
Yes.
Nextel.
We thought that was, no, who do you think? It's a lie. It goes.
You're not going to be able to erase Sprint. You're not going to be able to erase AT&T. You're not going to be able to erase Nextel. You can erase what's on your phone, but you can't erase the transmission to and from it.
Let me show you something. These are my paychecks. These are my paychecks. And if I didn't own these, they would just be material on a wall. But because I own my publishing, I don't ever have to worry about thinking about selling drugs. When I open my garage and I go, which one today? Because I don't need to do, let me turn the lights on. I don't need to do anything illegal to jeopardize my freedom. And you said, why don't the leaders? I don't know. I can't speak for other clubs, Hollywood. I really can't. I couldn't tell you.
You there?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just grabbing my charger. My apologies. Yeah, okay. I don't know why we let the blind lead the blind.
Well, one more question, because I know that we had you on here for a while, and why do you think clubs are losing not only the participation in the people, but you don't have anybody coming in to replace them? Personally, I think that SOA stuff is gone and over with now, but they're not being replaced anymore. You see, especially with the comments on my channel, where we did a poll, 95% would say, nope, don't want to be involved with no club. I like my freedom. I like my independence. Why do you think this is going on now?
I share things with Black Dragon that probably 90% of most motorcycle cats don't know. He knows about a club that it was pretty much a done deal. You know what I'm talking about, Black Dragon? That I was,
yeah.
Well, it was a done deal. I was gonna, and I thought, so I'm gonna jump out of the frying pan directly into the fire.
And I'm telling you, don't do it the whole time.
He went, actually, his words were, "Nigga, are you crazy?" That was exact. Boy, you just can't stop, can you?
That's exactly what I said.
He said, I applaud you because that's definitely the top. And I don't think, Thunderguard's not, but it was like they would, and applaud to them, huge applause to them. But his exact, I showed him something, I sent him something, and he called my phone and said, "Nigga, is you crazy? Can you just?" And I thought about, and it goes to your question.
People didn't know I talk like that until just now.
Yeah. Well, it goes to your question, Hollywood. I think what made me decide to say no and just stay where I'm at, it don't get no better nowhere else. And I think guys are starting to understand, either I'm going to start my own club because I don't want to go to the top, the big five. And I still don't know what the big five is. I just know when noise is being made. But I think guys are just starting to realize, man, that piece of material is either going to fuck your life up or it's going to control your life. And I've always made it a point. I ain't never been in nobody's RICO, nobody's conspiracy. I never been on nobody's case. And I guarantee you, if I'm not at the top of the list that Arizona law enforcement is waiting for me to screw up, because I am terrible to them. But I think people are just starting to realize, man, I'm not about to go to no club, especially an outlaw club, because I just think, I will tell you, you know who Jason, who has the podcast with Mooch, that's really like my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I'm not speaking for him, I'm just telling you something he said on the air because we did a podcast together. He says, listen, in a greater world, I wish we could get rid of, the ignorance, the fighting. Because he put together a peace treaty when we were in Ventura County. And he was trying to do something for the betterment, to save lives and continue this history.
Mm-hmm.
The harder heads chose to say, nah, what you're doing, we don't like, you're done. And I just think people are starting to go, man, I don't think I want to jump through all these hoops for a piece of material. I am going to be a 1%er to the day I die. And all I care about when I'm done is over is that those things that I said, never banged nobody's old lady, never stole. But I'll tell you, Hollywood, and I've only had this conversation with Black Dragon. And my Chaleco is in the garage. My retired Thunderguard is in the garage. I don't know if I believe in it anymore.
I was right there with you, man. I was right there with you.
Oh, no, you still are. You still are. You're still right there with them.
Oh, I know that.
I talk to both of you guys all the time. And like I said, Hollywood, you could be interviewing yourself right now.
Yeah. Well, I do know that Big Kaz has a podcast. His co-host, he drives a truck, which is freaking awesome. A lot of us drive a truck out there, so it's good to see a driver on the podcast with them. What's the name of it?
That's Big Milk. That's Milk from Chosen Few, X-Bikes National. Everybody knows us as twins, so so it's my channel, Head Knocker TV, and then I have 4 different. I've got Life After the Patch, which either means you've left the club after the patch, or when you get the patch, or you're still in it. So I have that one, and then I have Chicken and Chitlins, which there's this running thing of people wondering, why is it called Chicken and Chitlins? We're not going to tell it why yet. And then today we did our second episode of Get It Off Your Chest. And I want to interview you in about a week or so. And it's just 30 minutes where you get to vent and get everything off your chest from anything and everything. And so,
you know what my turning point was when I wrote that book, man, and looking back at everything that went down, and guilt ain't the start of it, but I think that was the turning point for me. Yeah, you got a book too.
Yeah, it's called I Made It Off the Block. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it directly from me, autographed with an extra gift on BRAAP energyshot.com. I also own my own nutrition line. I've got a pre-workout called PrAP. Everybody knows the word PrAP.
What happened to the alcohol, man?
You know, when I stopped drinking, I realized it was no different than when I've never done a drug in my life, but I ended up selling the company to a company called Scottsdale. Should have paid my taxes when I got the check, but I sold the alcohol company because I stopped drinking and I just felt like a contradiction. Right. But I want to leave, not a speech, but, you know, and earlier I got emotional. I apologize if I took it to the left a little bit.
No, man, that's just you. You're being you.
I will say this. When I got the call from the Mongols, it turned into this pissing contest of, you know, who got the call first, you know, and who this and who that. And I know y'all got the emails, and, you know, I got the call directly from them. And again, it turned into this pissing contest, and I called Black Dragon first. But this brother said something to me, and I promise I'll never say his name. He said, you know, man, one of the reasons why we thought of you, because he goes, I found some old pictures of you from the gang truce in 92. And I laughed. I said, thank you for reminding me how old I am. And
right.
He says, but we thought about you when we talked about it, how the Crips and Bloods, and he goes, you being even Latino in a Crip club, how y'all were able to bring together a truce. And I called him the other day and told him how Rock Machine stood up here in Arizona, and I consider Rock Machine my family. They came across 81 the other day. Now, how do you think that meeting was supposed to go?
I wasn't going to be going good, man.
Hugs and handshakes and kept it pushing. And when I called that brother from the Mongols and told him, hey, man, by the way, this club ran into this club, says that was pretty powerful. And they called me and told me about it. And he says, that's the goal. I really wish guys would understand that piece of material does not make you tough. And the time that you take to think that it does just means you were a pussy before you got the patch, and you're still a pussy with it. If you're really a 1%er, you're a gentleman. You're a man beyond man. You're a scholar. You're not thinking about hurting nobody. You're just thinking about staying away from politics, religion, race baiting, and BS. That's all a 1%er is supposed to be.
Well said.
I just don't know if I believe in it anymore. I know what I am. I just don't believe in it anymore.
Exactly. Well, I'm telling you what, man, you guys got a lot coming out of Big Kaz, man. I guarantee a lot of good conversations that are going to be taking place over at his channel. I see your subs are going up, man. So we got to get more people over there, man.
I started with 168 subs 4 months ago. And Black Dragon told me, don't do this. Don't do the, what are they called? The bots, Black Dragon?
Yeah.
He said, don't do that. I was like, hey, should I go to this channel or do to this app? He was like, you want to lose your channel? And he said, do it, do this many videos, do this video, do this amount of time. How do you say it? Short the hell out of it, make a bunch of shorts out of it. Mm-hmm. And it was Rude Richie from the Vagos. It was his son, Fat Boy, who kicked off my show first, that did an interview with me. And because we both prospect for the Vagos at the same time, and he went on to do his thing. But I'm telling you, and I will end it on this, I would not have a channel if it wasn't. And listen, that other guy, and I'm out of respect for Black Dragon, I'm not saying his name. You know, he showed me some things, but if it was not for Black Dragon, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't.
Well, I hope to God you keep on going, man, because I always enjoyed your stuff, man. And I don't watch a lot of people.
I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, I only watch a couple.
Yeah.
I got to
and
be
you,
over
and watching what you've done. But I mean, I'm talking about being taught.
right.
He has never sent me the voicemail. Never. He was in the middle of an argument at a bike night and picked up the phone and said, "Hey man, let me check this nigga real quick and I'll call you back." And all I heard was, "Nigga, don't be asking me about this motherfucking money." Blah, 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 blah. Off the phone. And then called me back.
Right.
So,
I don't talk about that.
I owe that guy a lot.
Awesome. So go check him out. Go check out BD's stuff, man. As usual, I know BD has a book over on Amazon. He has a bunch of books over there.
Yeah, that's a superstar book writer right there.
Yeah, you know, we have to go to the editors. He knows what he's doing when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because we, you know what it is we use our slang in our writing, and it's hard. But hopefully everybody enjoyed the show. Hopefully everybody gets over to Big Kaz and BD's channels over there. And we'll see you tomorrow morning for the Insanity Podcast with China Down, myself. 9 o'clock, we got some news coming up. And then BD comes on as well as Mike Ball. How many times a week you putting up videos, man?
Me?
Yeah.
So Chicken and Chitlins is Monday and Thursdays, and after the patch is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Get It Off Your Chest is once a week. And then Black Dragon taught me how to do the wrist. So I try to put out at least about six new videos in a week's time.
Wait till you get into all the editing and all the fun.
Oh, I do all the editing. I do all the everything. I'm not trying to stroke this man's ego. From the editing to the thumbnails to the video thing to make the shorts, all of it was taught to me by that man to the right of me.
Rock and roll, man. We'll catch you guys all later. You have a good Sunday night and enjoy.
I got a 2-hour drive home, so I'm up in Helen, Georgia. T and I, we were up here doing our little. I don't know. We just got engaged, so we're traveling and stuff. And
wait, you just got what? You just got what?
We just got engaged.
I hope I'm invited.
Ask sis, can we go to Thailand and celebrate?
Yeah. Yeah, she's asleep right now, so yeah, we can.
I better be invited to the bachelor party, man. We can have some fun.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, Hollywood, brother. I don't say it enough. You know, from day one, you've always taken time. You've interviewed me with the kids. You've interviewed me on your show. But the fact that you took your time to actually look into my prison record, my criminal, and that is Big Cass lying or the trolls hating, Bubba. That was the biggest video. Not that I needed the proof, but you took the time. And brother, I thank you for always keeping it 100. And I didn't know about you being in an outlaw club till years later either.
No problem, man.
Nobody knew. Nobody knew.
I had no idea.
They were saying the whole time, he ain't an outlaw. What the hell does he know about it? Blah, blah, blah. I just shook my head.
Yeah, I don't, you know what? I don't make a living off of it. You know what I mean? I don't put it out there to gain fame or any of that stuff. You know, there's others out there that do that kind of stuff. I'm just not that guy. So
that part. All right, gentlemen. I thank you guys and the folks that are watching. It means a lot that you even support what we're doing.
Rock and roll, man. We'll talk to you later, everybody.
All right, y'all.
All right.